Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working a little bit in the darkroom. I went on a field trip. A friend and I went out shooting a little bit and took along our view cameras. I had my 8x10 Kodak Master loaded up with some Arista EDU 100. And we went out and just drove some of the back roads here in central Kentucky. And I got, I think, 5 shots throughout the day. And then we are now going to develop it. I did not record anything while we were out shooting because I wanted to be there shooting, not thinking about video. So we're in the darkroom. I've got all the film loaded up here in my Jobo 3005 series tank. We are getting the developer mixed up and we're gonna go. So I'm gonna be hand rolling this on my little roller. If you want to see it, here we go. This pink thing you see here is a rubber pad. I think it's for like block printing, lino cut, something like that, from the craft store. I just use it as a nice little pad so that it doesn't like skid around on the countertop. I'm going to be developing it in PMK Pyro, which is my typical go-to developer. And I do it for 9 minutes. We're going to do this in 2 batches. By that I mean 4.5 minutes with 1 liter. Dump that out. Put in a fresh liter for another 4.5 minutes. Because this thing oxidizes that pretty quick. Yeah, so this is going to be the first time trying to process 8x10 film in this little darkroom, which is just a bathroom. And we will go from there. So let's get some gloves on. So I'm gonna grab my timer. Apparently I didn't grab that yet. Part of the process of figuring out this darkroom space, where to put everything. Let's just do the timer here. And actually we'll set 1 minute and we'll do a water pre-rinse. And let's move the camera so you can see it a little bit better. Now, filling this up and emptying is going to be a joy. I mean that sarcastically, because of the plate down in the middle. So I think we're going to have to kind of fill it up like this, where I tilt it to pour in, let air out. I don't know. This is going to be an adventure. So let's do a water pre-rinse here and see if we can get this kind of figured out. Okay. Hear that water churning around in there. If you're not familiar with these kinds of tanks, it is like 5 cylinder chambers within the drum, and the water kind of pours from top to bottom as you rotate. And these drums always want to drift on the roller to one end or the other. And for today's video, I am using my GoPro with internal microphone, so not my usual camera equipment, but I'm trying to figure out how to just get the camera stuff in here. Alright, that's our 1 minute pre-rinse. Yeah, let's turn the buzzer off. Don't need the buzzer. Okay, set that for 9 minutes. And we've got our developer. I've got the part A already in there. Here's part B. So we'll put that in. There we go. Let's get that stirred up just a little bit. Make sure it looks nice and uniform, and then we'll put half of it in there. There we go. Okay. Let's see how we can do this here. Get that green foam out. Nice. Okay. Now that we got rid of our Baja Blast, let's get the developer in. Ideally, this would be turning as you're pouring it in, but that can't happen here. So the water pre-rinse is more about evening out the entry or introduction of the developer than anything else. Okay, get that nice and churned up. 4.5 minutes. Maybe. There we go. And we're going to struggle with this a little bit as we figure it out. Now, why did I invert it a couple of times? Well, that's more on the suggestion by someone else. A gentleman who processes in one of these with PMK for his professional lab. Says he does it. I'm going to give it a shot, see how it works. None of these images are important, they're just out for fun. So if we get terrible uneven development, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm watching my timer and changing direction every 30 seconds. Okay, we've got about 10 seconds left, so let's pour it out. Oh yeah, you can see it is exhausted. That is not the original color. Okay, put in part 2. Four and a half minutes. Oops. All right. So we can see from that container there that this oxidizes pretty quickly. We're having trouble here. Which is why we split between 2 halves. Rather than 1 liter for the whole time, it's not going to have that kind of activity. It's just churning too much inside of this container. Okay. Okay, now, a lot of people who use pyro, especially PMK, will say use a water stop, not an acid stop, because you want the stain formation. We'll do a video about that one day, but I've not had any issues using standard acid stop and acid fix with PMK and stain formation. Standard high pan fixer. I guess I'm just being triggered because I just found a burst pipe under my house from a garden hose faucet in the backyard, fortunately. It only leaks when we turn on the faucet. So, as long as we don't use that garden hose faucet till we get it fixed, not a problem. But it sounded like that under the house. Not fun. Normally, after I was done with the fixer, which we've got 1 minute left, I would use a hypo-clear agent to get rid of any remaining fixer and tint. However, I don't have any mixed up. So, we're going to have to do just a longer wash than normal. I also forgot to bring up my washer. Great. Well, I have a solution. I think we'll make this work. Actually, I use this. Alright, so we need to get some of that fixer washed off. Let's just do this quickly. Normally I like to have water ready, and I did not. I feel very underprepared today for my usual film processing. That out, fill it up, and pour in a liter. And what we'll do is we'll run a couple liters of water through here, probably like a minute each, just to kind of rinse off the bulk part of the fixer, and then we'll fill it with water. So it can sit safely while I go grab my print washer or film washer. Okay. Get that put away up there. Open that up. Yeah, well, I got negatives. That's good. So just filling this up with water so that the film doesn't start to dry while I go hunt down my 8x10 washer and get it hooked up and filled. Alright, so I found my washer. It's an 8x10 Gravity Works print washer that I use for sheet film usually. So what I have is, I'm going to show you, a little adapter where the aerator goes on the faucet, and then it changes it to a garden hose attachment. So from there, it just goes into this. Sorry for the jerkiness, I'm just holding the camera here. So we'll let this fill up for a little bit, run for a couple of minutes just to get any dust out, because I'm sure it's dirty. We've been in the garage. If you've never used one of these, I'm just going to flow some water over it. Give me dust floating on top out. If you've never used one of these, they're really nice. So water comes into this chamber, comes through holes top and bottom to fill, and then it flows up and over into this chamber and then out the hose. This is the overflow hose. This one comes from the chamber down here. So you use this clamp to kind of control. You just want to let a little bit of water out. You don't really want it a high flow. What you want is a lower flow. Let's see, it starts to empty. So you want to close this clamp until you get a little bit of water coming out both hoses. So right now, got a little bit of water coming out the bottom. I'll show you here. So you want water coming out both, because this means water is coming out the bottom, water coming out the top. The clamp slows the flow of water out of this hose, which is directly from the bottom, and it forces it to come up and over, and you're looking for a trickle or a small flow coming out the top. That means I'm getting water flowing through the washer, drain out the bottom, overflow out the top. All right, well, this first one's the negative that I ruined, and it's actually not too terrible. Show you here. So yeah, I got all this fog down here, but the rest of the image is usable. So I may be able to just crop that out. Got a little bit of purple staining here. Let's see if that comes out. Some purple staining on this one too. If this purple streak doesn't come out after a few minutes of washing, we'll put it back in some fixer. Yeah, I don't like what's going on here with some of this, so we're going to refix it in an open tray just in case. Alright, so what I have here is just a red tray. I grabbed it knowing I need to do some photo flow, but I don't like some of those streaks on the film where it was contacting the edge of the drum. I may not have had the film pushed all the way down to the chamber enough. Be my guess. So we're going to refix for a minute here. Now I could do this with all the negatives together, but FOMA is notoriously soft and scratchable. Okay, so what I had was along the edge a purple streak where it just hadn't fixed. So a few minutes in the fixer in that tray, cleared that right up. Alright, so we'll let these wash without a fixer remover. It is a non-hardening fix. I want to give it a good 20 minutes. We'll let those wash and then we'll photo flow and hang them up to dry.